Hey, how you doing? This is Eastern 57 again, taking you through the process of Minas Tirith, as opposed to Minas Morgul. This is just the raw tube, and a couple of scrap tubes. Again, this one wasn't specifically for the challenge of creating stuff out of scrap, since I had already done that. This was actually more for the express purpose of creating something nice for a gift. So, my style is still the same, so it's not like I'm gonna go out and buy new parts, especially if I got stuff sitting around. So a couple of points that some of the parts were repurposed. This is the frame from my $50 Coda. This is the internal tube from Attack of the Clones Anakin, and this is a custom blade holder 6 that you'll see me chop up a little bit later. The outer shrouds have already been cut to length, as you can see here. Basically, they just get all stacked up on top, pretty much right here, so that here's the grip, and then the pommel pretty much is all the, you'll see. Here it is with everything stacked up. This part right here, this is pretty much just a piece of scrap for powder coating, but I'm using it as the blade holder. I needed 7 layers, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I just needed the extra layers. I think that's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I just needed that extra one right there. So kind of the same as the last time, where I just took all the layers and stacked them, tapped a hole so that they would stay put while I start cutting. And this one, I wasn't cutting them individually, I just cut them all the same because I wanted that the great prow of a ship look for that front, so you could actually see all those layers stacked on top of each other. Held in place with 832 button head. So I spray painted just this one side so I could tell which side I was going to be using. I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to be taking it apart in the process of it, so to keep all things evenly spaced out, particularly for the screw, which side was which, I just painted the side so you can tell which one it was. And here's me cutting it up. So I cut the flange off, I cut the threads off, and the way I cleaned it up is I'll use that compression plug. Technically, I guess it's not a compression plug, but it's a the rubber stopper for a sanding drum, and it's 1 inch. And I have one that's 1.25 inches, and then I think one that's like 3/4 of an inch also, again, just for sanding the outer diameters and whatnot. So pretty much it gets plopped on top of that, tightened down. There's a head right there so you can tighten it down, and then pretty much just hold it to some sandpaper as I spin the drill so that it gets that nice even lay, because this is, I guess, a makeshift lathe. This is how I turn parts. The start of the head taped off, and I really wish I had had the presence of mind to take progress shots, but I didn't. I just went. All this stuff just got sliced down the middle. This got sliced down the middle, and then cut it off right about here for the look. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So yeah, this is what it ended up with. The interim rough, and this is all the parts laid out. I think that looks kind of cool. The start of, originally this was going to be the blade holder, but once I came up with the idea to put the Swarovski crystal in there, then it kind of didn't work as well, because it would be protruding, it would be fragile in the sense that it would probably pop off, and there wasn't anything there to really hold it in place securely. So originally it was going to be the blade holder, but I ended up changing my mind. And it looks okay, because you can see where it was eventually going. This is ultimately what it looked like. It's just that there was, the head got cut off right there, the crown. Start of the switch box, since this was not an orc creation, this was going to be still Gondorian culture. The lines are straight, and it went straight to the end of the head as opposed to creating an all internal to the head inside the frame. but it went to the edges this time. And cut out, cleaned up, straight lines, all that black again, the same as last time. That's what's going to get hewn out. This is the start of the main power switch. Oh look, it fits. That's pretty cool. Yay. The screws are like 2.6, M2.6. The M2s I thought were a little too small. The M3s I thought were a little too big. So I think these are M2.5, 2.6. I forgot. The frame was chopped out, and this is the start of the inside, or the internal shapes underneath the grip. This is 1.25 inches. This is 1.75 inches. Or wait, 1.25 inches, 1.375, whatever that equates to. But before I started drawing in the feathers for the wings, this is a wing, this is a wing. This is where all the wires get routed. Like, it's sloppy. I make sloppy things. It's crazy. But this is where the switch go. The head, the slider switch goes on top of this. These wires get routed into here. This wire gets routed into there, and then pretty much the grip starts right about at that line. And then the rest of all this is all the head that gets covered up, like that. The spine. This one was a little bit different. I don't know if I had the screws in here yet, but the screws are on the bottom this time as opposed to primarily on the back. Specifically because like it ended up feeling like ridges on like a pistol grip or something, and it seemed to fit really well. And I did that because I noticed that when I would hold the Minas Tirith, I would hold it upside down because the fingers would fit in between those little swells. So I figured, hey, let's put them on the bottom this time. That's why it makes sense to be like spaces for your fingers.